3 tons of steel. That was the discrepancy in today's supply report.
The king's orders were precise. Every beam accounted for. So why the surplus?
Kazu sought out Captain Voss, the royal overseer, in the construction yard.
Captain, the steel count is off by 3 tons. Someone is requisitioning more than my plans require.
Your plans. You are just the architect. The Crown adjusts allocations as needed. Don't question it.
That's a lie. I designed those walls. Every scrap has a purpose. Something is being hidden.
That night, Kazu slipped into the royal vault, where the original blueprints were stored. He searched dusty shelves until he found a sealed tube marked Northern Perimeter. Supplemental. The plans inside were a mirror of his own, but with one horrifying difference. Emplacements angled inward. Murder holes facing the city. The wall wasn't built to keep horrors out. It was a cage, soundproofed cell blocks, collapsing floor sections. One gate, locks only accessible from outside. He copied the critical alterations onto a scrap of parchment, hands trembling with the weight of the truth. He slid the tube back into place and tucked the copy into his coat, heart pounding. By dawn, he was out of the vault, the nightmare etched behind his eyes.
Your walls will be remembered for centuries, Kazu. A true marvel of defensive design. Soon, we will witness their ultimate test. Every citizen will know their strength.
He's not testing defense. He's sealing the city. I have to find a way out. I designed these locks to never be opened from inside. Now, I have to break them.
That night, back at his desk, he sketched a secret alteration. A false joint in the gate mechanism. It was his rebellion, a flaw hidden within the flawless walls he had to build. The next morning, Kazu stood at the gate and ordered the masons to carve a false joint into the inner lock housing.
Hold. I didn't approve any modifications to the gate. What is this?
Just an expansion joint, Captain. The iron will warp in extreme cold without it.
You architects and your theories, fine, but I'll be watching.
His eyes are on me everywhere. I'll have to work when the site is deserted.
That night, after the watch changed, Kazu crawled under the barracks and began digging, pick biting into the earth.
Stop. What are you doing here?
I am just checking the foundations. There might be a crack.
With a pick? And no lantern? You are digging a tunnel, not inspecting. Why?
He took a breath, then told her the city would need an emergency exit. Mira set down her lantern. Then you'll need help. Over the following nights, the tunnel grew, and the false joint in the gate mechanism was disguised as ordinary stonework.
Architect, I've noticed your expansion joint requires more iron than your original drawings. Explain.
The ground survey revealed a fault line here. I added reinforcement bars to prevent future cracks.
Interesting. I'll have my engineers double-check that. If you are lying, it won't end well.
The next day, King Aldrich arrived for an unscheduled inspection of the nearly completed walls.
The final seal mechanism. Tell me, Kazu, once it's activated, can it be opened from inside?
He already knows the answer. He's testing if I'm loyal enough to lie for him. No, Your Majesty. The locks are only accessible from the outside for maximum security.
Excellent. But I am sure there's nothing you'd need to hide from your king?
The tour ended with a royal decree. The sealing ceremony was accelerated. Kazu had less time than he thought. The next day, new royal orders arrived. Iron grates were to be installed over every drain and ventilation shaft in the city.
They're sealing every possible exit. Even the drainage tunnels won't be passable.
They're new additions, aren't they? They weren't in your original plans.
They're not mine. The king is adding them to lock every breath inside. I need to break one.
That night, after the forge fires were cold, Kazu crept through the dark workshop to the drainage grate. With a file and a homemade lever, he carved a hidden catch inside the iron frame. When pulled from the inside, the entire grate would swing loose, just enough for a person to slip through. By dawn, the grate was back in place, the sabotage invisible to casual eyes.
Good. No one will crawl out of these drains.
Not unless they know where to push.
By royal decree, the sealing ceremony was moved forward. Only 2 weeks remained.
The tunnel isn't finished. The gate joint untested. There's no way to finish in time.
He pushed himself to the brink, working double shifts on the wall by day, digging by night until his hands bled.
Kazu, you are a wreck. Stop hiding things and tell me what's really going on. No more half-truths about emergency exits. What are you actually trying to prevent?
He said nothing, just handed her a torn scrap of the hidden blueprints from his coat.
Inward-facing murder holes. Floor collapse mechanisms. This isn't defense, it's a slaughterhouse.
I found these weeks ago. The king plans to seal everyone inside. I've been digging escape routes.
Then we need more. Beneath the main square, there's an old cellar. We can expand it into a hiding chamber.
If we link it to the drainage grate, people can shelter there until the gate jam triggers.
That same night, Mira was stopped in the shadow of the wall, Captain Voss himself blocking her path.
Where were you, Mason? Curfew was an hour ago.
A stone had shifted on the east bastion. I was checking it before it caused a collapse.
Funny. The architects never reported a shift. I'll be watching you, and your friend Kazu.
By sunrise, a royal guard was stationed at the construction yard, his eyes rarely leaving Kazu.
They're onto us. We can't meet openly.
That evening, a coded note passed between them under a loose brick. Use foundation inspection to finish.
When Voss is distracted by the inspection, I can guide the workers to finish carving the joint.
Mira will break through the cellar. I'll draw Voss to the gate mechanism. One chance.
The foundation inspection was set 2 days before the ceremony, their only window to finish the escape before the walls sealed. The morning of the inspection, Kazu took a chisel to a keystone near the east gate, then called the alarm.
Captain, a hairline fracture. The walls shifted. We need a full survey of this section.
This better not be another one of your tricks. I want every stone checked. Now.
While Voss's men swarmed the east gate, Mira and 4 trusted workers broke through the last foot of tunnel under the barracks.
Quietly now. Slide the false stone into place. It'll look like bedrock, unless someone knows to push.
Hours later, the main gate mechanism was tested. Gears turned, the lock clicked, and Voss finally nodded approval.
It works. The gate is sound. I'll report to the king personally.
But he doesn't see the joint. When that final seal is forced, the whole mechanism will jam.
As dusk fell, the tunnel breach was masked, the crack repaired, and the inspection declared a success. But Kazu knew the true test was yet to come, the day the walls would become a cage, and his flaw would be the only key. A royal decree was nailed to every post, mandatory census for all households to streamline defense.
They're using the census to list dissidents. When the gate closes, those people disappear.
In the market, Kazu pulled aside those he trusted most, voice a fierce whisper. Some stared at him like a madman. Others paled and grabbed his sleeve.
If the gate jams, run to the forge drainage. A hidden lever there swings the grate open.
A few nodded silently, then began hiding food and blankets under floorboards.
Rest assured, good people, this census will ensure the safety of every loyal subject.
He means anyone who won't fight when the bars come down.
The whispers spread faster than he could contain. Voss's spies would hear soon. By ceremony eve, a few were ready. But the risk of exposure had never been sharper. Before dawn, a royal messenger pounded on Kazu's door. The king demanded his presence alone.
I know about the extra iron, the expansion joints. You thought you were clever, architect, but I am not here to punish you. I see brilliance. I want you as my warden, to oversee the prison you designed.
He unrolled new blueprints. Not walls, but gallows, soundproofed cells, a courtyard for public executions.
This is the final test. Once the gate seals, all traitors will be processed here. You'll have authority over it.
He's showing me the slaughterhouse. If I refuse, I die here. If I accept, I can still sabotage it. I am honored, Your Majesty. I will serve the crown's vision.
Good. The ceremony is in 2 days. I expect you at the front, with the keys.
Kazu strode from the palace, spine rigid, and he didn't stop until he was in the tunnel, alone with the dark.
Now, I am the warden, but the gate will fail, and I'll make sure everyone knows where to run before it does.
Kazu emerged from the tunnel at dusk and pulled Mira into the shadow of the scaffolding.
They made you warden? And you accepted? After everything we saw in those plans?
He knows about the joints. If I refused, he'd have me killed and find someone else to oversee the slaughter.
So you just gave in? What happens to the people we've been warning?
I didn't give in. I am buying time. But we need a diversion bigger than a jammed gate.
He spread a fresh drawing on the ground, a design for the east wall, with marked stress points.
A controlled collapse. Set to trigger when the gate starts closing. It'll tear a breach in the wall.
The king would never allow a weak point in his perfect cage.
He will, if I call it a structural reinforcement to channel siege forces. I'll disguise it as his design.
By dawn, the reinforcement order was submitted, and the false joint was hidden in the new masonry. The trap within the trap. That night, a dozen trusted workers followed Mira into the main drainage pipe, deepening the exit and installing the hidden grate lever.
Set the catch just past the bend. They need to find it in the dark when they run.
Under the granary, another team built a false wood panel that blended with the grain sacks, a door to the tunnel.
3 exits, plus the gate. We can handle Voss.
But Voss had not been idle. His spies slipped among the laborers, watching for the slightest irregularity. Then, a muffled shout near the tool shed. One of the spies had wandered too close to the hidden tunnel entrance.
Hold him still. Gag him. Nobody saw this.
We can't let him report. We'll keep him bound in the cellar until after the ceremony.
The spy was dragged into the newly dug hiding chamber. A sack over his head, a guard posted at the door. Now the risk was excruciating. A missed head count, a curious guard, and the entire escape plan could collapse. By afternoon, a full company of royal guards marched through the gate, sent by the king to reinforce Captain Voss.
Too many soldiers. If they're here during the ceremony, no one leaves. I have to pull Voss out of the city. Captain, a scout, just reported a rebel stockpile outside the north wall. Weapons enough to arm an uprising.
This wasn't in any briefing. Where exactly?
A hidden valley half a day's ride north. The informant is a trusted mason. I marked the route.
If this is a trick, Warden, your head will be the first the gallows take. Ready my horse.
Within the hour, Voss and half the garrison rode north. The remaining guards were spread thin. That night, Kazu and Mira crept along the east wall, placing the final collapse wedges and testing each hidden route.
The drainage lever is smooth. The granary door is swung without a creak. We're ready.
But the countdown had begun. Voss would return by dawn, and the sealing ceremony was hours away. It happened faster than they feared. The spy chewed through his gag and slipped his ropes when the guard dozed.
A tunnel, hidden cells. That traitor architect has been undermining us from the start.
By the time Kazu reached the main square, Voss's horse clattered through the gate, his face a mask of wrath.
Lock the site. No one enters or leaves. Kazu, surrender yourself or every worker faces the lash.
He'll tear the site apart. I have to buy Mira time to get the people moving. Mira, go now. Take the cellar route. Bring every family to the drainage grate and wait for the rumbling.
I won't leave you to face him alone.
You have to. I'll stall him. Go, or none of this matters.
Kazu turned and walked into the open, hands raised, straight toward Voss.
So the rat shows himself. You'll die before this gate ever closes.
I made unauthorized changes. Expansion joints. They're harmless. Just surplus iron put to use.
Harmless. Inspect the gate mechanism. Every joint. Every seam. If I find one flaw, you are done.
Minutes later, a guard returned, holding a broken chisel, the hidden joint exposed in the lock housing.
This is no expansion joint. It's a deliberate break point. Arrest this traitor.
But Kazu was already pulling a thin wire from his sleeve, A trigger connected to the east wall's collapse wedges. He yanked it hard. A deep groan echoed through the stones, and then the east wall shuddered. With a roar, a 30-foot section caved outward, sunlight bursting through the dust. Voss's men froze. Kazu bolted through the chaos, past the stunned guards, toward the drainage grate.
The breach is open. Now, I have to get to Mira before Voss recovers.
Behind him, the east wall continued to crumble, and the first screams of hope rose from the city. Through the dust and rubble, the city's people surged toward the breach, a river of terrified hope.
This way. Through the tunnel. Leave your cards, just run.
Mira's voice echoes ahead. I have to reach the great lever before the guards discover the drainage exit.
He crawled through the drainage pipe, fingers finding the lever. With a scream of metal, the grate swung open, light flooding in. Outside, escapees stumbled into the sun. But horns blared from the walls. The king's forces had arrived.
Seal the gate. Let no traitor escape.
Guards threw their weight against the wheel, but the false joint screeched. The gate lurched, then jammed at 2/3 closed.
The mechanism is broken, Your Majesty. Something has been tampered with.
It's working, but the gap is narrow, and half the people are still behind me.
Behind him, bootsteps thundered. Voss's men flooded the square. The margin between escape and capture had narrowed to heartbeats. Guards heaved against the gate, iron shrieking. The gap was barely a body's width, yet the people kept pushing through.
Force it, you fools. I don't care if the gate shatters. No one else escapes.
Voss, bleeding from a head wound, limped into the narrowing gap and raised his sword at the fleeing families. But Mira was already there. Her mallet struck with a mason's precision, knocking his blade away.
The last ones. Go. Over the rubble now.
The final group scrambled over the broken stones. A mother clutching her child, an old man carried by his son. With an iron groan, the gate slammed shut. Voss and his soldiers were trapped on the inside of their own cage.
It closed. The prison is sealed. But it was the jailers, not us, locked inside.
From the balcony, King Aldrich stared in silence. His perfect cage had become his own inescapable tomb. Outside the walls, the survivors gathered on a hill, looking back at the silent stone. The city was a prison no more. Kazu stood apart from the huddled families, eyes fixed on the distant gate.
A crack between the iron and stone. The false joint held just enough to leave it forever ajar.
The main gate rose from the dust, its lock scarred by the jammed mechanism, a permanent black slit.
I built this to be a cage, but it became the jailer's cell. Justice wasn't in the walls, but in the crack.
He stooped at the rubble's edge and broke a palm-sized stone from the fallen joint.
A souvenir or a burden.
A reminder that a builder can break any cage if they have the will to carve a flaw.
She placed her hand on his shoulder, and they looked at the road unspooling south, away from the silent walls. The survivors stirred behind them, gathering what little they had. The cage was behind, the horizon open. In his pocket, the stone was rough and warm, proof that the flaw had been the greatest design of all. They walked south through the hills, the city shrinking behind them, a gray silhouette against the morning.
Kazu, I need to tell you something. I wasn't just a mason. I was sent by the rebels to sabotage your walls.
I wondered why your hands were so steady on a chisel, but you never broke a single stone.
When I saw you digging that tunnel, I knew you were fighting the same enemy. I couldn't harm your work.
Then you chose the right side. Without you, none of us would be breathing free air.
The path ahead led to other settlements, each still under the king's shadow.
He'll try again, but I can teach other builders. Every wall should have a flaw its maker knows.
Then we go together. I'll swing the hammer. You draw the crack. We'll be the builder and the breaker.
Behind them, the survivors began their slow march south, carrying little but the knowledge of an unlocked cage. Kazu's hand brushed the stone in his pocket. The flaw had become a seed and the road would be long. Word of the prison city spread. Within months, the king's regime crumbled, and the walls stood silent, a relic of a dead tyrant. Kazu returned one final time before the southern road called him away forever. The gate hung ajar, locked in its eternal flaw. The crack he carved had never closed.
Every tyrant tries to build a perfect cage, but perfection is brittle. A flaw, that's eternal.
He knelt and broke a small, jagged piece from the joint, a twin to the one he already carried.
2 stones now. Are you planning to chip away the whole kingdom?
One to remember the cage, one to remind us that no lock is absolute.
She smiled and took his hand. The road ahead was long, but they walked it together. Behind them, the flawed gate stood as a warning. Walls built to imprison will always imprison the builder. And in the palm of his hand, the stone was warm, not a burden, but a compass. Years passed. Kazu's hair silvered, but his voice gained a quiet authority that drew students from across the land.
A builder's first duty is not to the crown that pays them, but to the people who will live inside their walls.
A young student raised her hand, eyes bright with the curiosity of the unburdened. She asked a question that silenced the room.
Master Kazu, what is the greatest work you ever built?
Kazu was silent for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and held up a worn, unremarkable piece of stone.
A crack.
The room held its breath. A dozen young builders learning the lesson that would shape their lives. From the doorway, Mira watched. Silver streaked her hair now, but the mallet still hung at her belt. She did not enter. She only smiled, knowing the compass had been passed on. After the lesson, the stone was passed from hand to hand, the rough surface worn smooth by time. A small voice asked, "What does it mean, Master Kazu?" Kazu knelt down and closed the small fingers around the stone. He answered not with words, but by pointing to the classroom door, where Mira still stood. She nodded once, the mallet at her belt, a silent testament to every wall they had broken. Then he spoke the lesson that would outlive stone. In every wall, there must be a gate. In every cage, a flaw. And in every heart, the courage to build a way out. The stone passed to the youngest hands, a tiny compass heavier than any lock, and the school stood under a bright sky, a wall of learning, with every door open. The crack that had once held a prison now held a world of light.